Hello, everyone. Good morning. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Weekend Wake Up. My name is Caitlin Aristizabal, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Leslie Gallagher. Welcome to Weekend Wake Up, my friends, your weekly dose of lifestyle-ish news. We've got a lot going on today, talking about finals and, self-care and quarantine and some new music and, lots of other news is going on. It's that time of the year, I guess, where people are, some people are getting ready to graduate. Some people are really happy that the semester's over or beginning to be over because,
I think we're all experiencing a little bit of burnout, so.
Oh, just a little. Actually, I think I'm experiencing less burnout than at the beginning of the semester, which kind of doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know. I can't really explain it, but I think generally a lot of students are feeling a lot of pressure. So we're going to talk about that. Actually talking about that a little bit, starting with our good friend, Isa Wanek.
Hello guys, it's wonderful to see you again this weekend. I hope everyone is staying, or at least trying their best to stay happy and healthy. How are you guys?
What a question.
I just think it's funny because my first instinct is always going to be to say good. But then in my mind, I was like, I'm tired, but it's okay. We're vibing, we're chilling.
Are you physical tired or mental tired or both?
More physical, I think. I just haven't been sleeping much this week. I went to bed at 3 a.m. last night. It's fine though. I'm not the only one who does that.
I mean, it's a student's life.
I've been texting Leslie. I texted Leslie all throughout the night. Let me know why. I don't know. I kept having.
I don't know if I read it.
Thank you.
Well,
I've been thinking of things. I just kept texting you.
Well, as everyone here knows, it's obviously this wonderful time of the semester that we like to call, I would say, this finals era, finals week-ish, because it's about 2 or 3 weeks. And we are just finishing up all of our finishing projects, just ending assignments that just have such an impact on our grade that it's hard to really avoid them or not think about them. And that, I know in me, that causes a lot of stress. Even though because it's so important and because these assignments often require a lot of effort, we're often tense and we're sitting in one place, and sometimes I find myself sitting in front of the computer for 2 or 3 hours just to finish something or make sure I'm getting it exactly right. I'm an idealist. But I wonder, when it comes to the finals, do you guys find yourself more stressed just about doing the final itself, a lot about studying? What do you feel are your weaknesses when it comes to this time?
You know what's interesting? Since Montclair doesn't really have a finals week, it's kind of more spread out, which I appreciate, but then at the same time, it's dragging out, if that makes sense. So it's okay, at least we don't have one really full stressful week, but also we're doing big assignments for 2 to 3 weeks, which is also kind of annoying. But I mean, it could be worse, it could be better. I just feel I'm just here, and I'm I just need to do what I need to do, and I can't wait till it's done. That's my mindset.
I see. I completely agree. It's I like that it's not a finals week, but at the same time, I feel having that time separated also allows professors to kind of have that understanding that, okay, for that week, we can't assign extra assignments because it's all finals. But speaking of that, we were talking about stress, anxiety, maybe some just self-doubt, these negative emotions coming in. I want to talk to you guys about a recent Harvard Health review that discusses nutritional strategies to battling stress and anxiety. Since I love the topic of health and wellness, I want to discuss some interesting ideas on how missing key nutrients could actually be the key to solving a lot of that stress and anxiety, especially under high pressure situations or during situations where you need to have a lot of either excruciating physical or mental effort. So the first thing I want to ask you is, when it comes to finals and when it comes to this time, do you find yourself that you're losing focus, that you're losing energy, that you're just anxious and tense all the time? What would you say is what would you say is the first thing that goes down for you, or one of your first obstacles that you hit?
Ooh, I've just thought of one. When I have so many things on my to-do list, I get so overwhelmed that I don't know where to start. And then, you just get I just get overwhelmed, and it's I don't start. I procrastinate because I'm I don't know what to do first. and it's just the fact that there's so many things on that list. It just overwhelms me so much that I just don't want to do any of it.
Wow,
Which is awful, but I just know that's how I am.
I like to put my to-do list in order of like what needs to be, like when things are due.
That's very smart, Caitlin. I should follow that. One tip I saw recently, though, on the good old TikTok that we bring up often, is to separate your like what you have to do into some different categories, like important but not urgent, or just like straight up urgent and important, or neither, but it still has to get done.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I did try it last week, and everything fell into like the not urgent but important category. And I just was right back to where I started, because nothing was like due that day, but everything was like due towards the end of the week-ish. And I was just like, I'm right back where I started. So I don't know. It didn't really work for me.
I completely understand, because I have certain classes that I need to, like, I have many online classes too, and I noticed that many assignments are due at the end of the week. Just when it comes to like actually doing it, like what do I start first? A really good tip that I actually read here was like to take a deep breath and really think, what's the most difficult thing to do, or what do I feel like doing most today? Like, what would I be really happy from accomplishing today? Just asking yourself that question kind of gives you like this little intuition, like almost this clarity, like, okay, that maybe, let's say I have a journalism assignment, I have an art project, and then I have like a mathematics assignment, let's say I feel like, oh, I would feel really happy if I finished the journalism assignment today, and focus on that. And when you finish it, you're going to feel so accomplished. That releases like endorphins in your brain, and like you feel so much more productive. And it's really funny because you don't have, like, you could do the math assignment, but you're not going to be into the moment, into that spirit, as you would if you did that journalism assignment, because it came intuitively.
Yeah, who needs math? No, but I know exactly what you're saying, because when you do get to check off one thing on your checklist, it almost gives you, I mean, I don't know, it gives me the confidence to be able to do more things, because I'm like, oh, I already did one thing, so I can do more.
Yeah, it's very motivational.
Yeah, like Caitlin, you check off that you got lunch for the day, and it's honestly adorable. I did that the other day too. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
check.
I think it's funny that you think that's cute. I really do live by my planner, and I color code it like, sometimes.
It's important, because honestly, sometimes when you're super busy, like, I don't know about you, but when I'm super busy, I sometimes forget to get food or make food. I forget because I'm so busy, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I'm really hungry. I wonder why. That's why. So
I don't do it every day. I do it when there's certain food on campus that like comes every now and then, and I'm like, I can't forget to get that, so I'm gonna write it in my planner. The Cuban bowl,
the burrito bowls.
Speaking of food, other than staying organized, like prioritizing, doing things intuitively but also productively, like I mentioned in the very beginning, key nutrients are very, very important, especially electrolyte nutrients, which I'll get into in a bit, are key to battling stress, anxiety, and just keeping your mind like focused, sharp, and just like being your best self. Because a lot of people don't know, because they often blame a lot of, I would say, deficits of nutrients on just like, oh, I'm just tired, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But you're not meant to be tired, even if we're supposed to be giving out a lot of effort, whether it's for an exam, a project, or even now, if we are tired or we're off, that's not a natural thing. We're still supposed to somehow have that balance. So I'm going to mention a few things in a sec, and I'm going to ask you guys if you ever find yourself in this kind of state. So first, the most common deficit is magnesium. And you could tell that you are usually in a magnesium deficit if you have this hyper stress, anxiety, or even depression during these times when you're productive. Like, let's say you're supposed to feel excited about something, but let's say you underslept, or you didn't have as much, or you're just like overwhelmed. And when you feel that anxiety and depression set in, that's actually a sign that you're low on magnesium. But a good way to supplement on magnesium is to eat legumes, to eat nuts. Almost any type of nut is really good. Leafy greens, anything dark green, even like almost purple vegetables. Like if you ever see like purple cauliflower, sometimes there's purple like cabbage, like purple lettuces that really have high antioxidants, but also they're very high in magnesium. And what's also really important, to supplement. I was wondering, do you guys find yourself often paying attention to your magnesium levels, especially during this time?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I've never heard that before, but that's really interesting because I think we all need to pay a little more attention to our bodies and how they react to things. And I think I'm definitely the type to kind of brush things off. Like, I'll just be like, oh, I'm probably just tired. It's whatever, and I don't really pay attention like that, and I really should. So that's a really interesting thing to look out for. Now you're gonna make me like hyper aware of that.
It's just important really like throughout the day to make sure that you're getting enough. Just like have a handful of like healthy like nuts, or having just a little bit of eating a lot of vegetables in general is very important. Other than that, keeping in mind probiotics, making sure that your gut is healthy, like sauerkraut, pickles, spices, don't be afraid of that, because if you have a healthy gut, then you have a healthy mind. It's actually scientifically proven, and there's much data that goes into it, but it's very complex.
That's true. People like say that you are what you eat. So like if you eat healthy and that makes you feel good too. So that's definitely really important.
Perfect. So other than staying organized, prioritizing, and just having that intuitive nudge to work, I recommend magnesium, probiotics, taking deep breaths, and lots of water, because you want to hydrate yourself.
Yes, water all the time. That's all I drink. But thank you, Issa.
I see, Leslie, those water bottles on my...
My water really bottles, they're just here. These are both unopened, but
Me too. I have 2 unopened ones too.
I just have so many of these waters just from like being on campus.
Yeah, they give them out.
The water that they give out, so I just have infinite waters of this brand. That shall
be never-ending supply.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Not to advertise, but it is the brand that puts salt in the water to make you drink more of it. So if you ever wanted a fun fact, that is one of them.
If I could just also very quickly add, sometimes if you are very busy during the day, having a little bit salt in your water actually preserves electrolytes. So it's not entirely a bad thing.
What?
Oh. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Especially for women.
Oh, yay for
that's so interesting.
So don't worry about it. Having a little bit of sodium is actually not bad. It balances, because we have potassium, sodium, magnesium. Those are the 3 like PMS actually, 3 important electrolytes for women. So it's just good to know.
It's interesting. See, Issa always exactly. Issa always comes with her tips, and we love to hear them. So
you'll learn a million things a day if you hang out with us.
True.
Well, thank you guys once again for having me. Stay safe, stay awesome, and crush those finals. You got this. Don't worry.
I not only have to take my finals, but now I have to crush them. Okay, I'll try.
It's a command. You got this.
Wow, Leslie made that sound so negative. We're gonna do great on our finals.
We are. Well, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. I guess my confidence is like, eh. Okay, one of my finals is like a game of Family Feud, and I don't know how to study for that. That's why I'm like kind of stressing in here.
That's so cool. Is it just questions about the class?
I
mean, it's probably just questions about the class, right?
Yeah, but like we didn't learn. I mean, a lot of what we learned was like through activities and stuff. But like at the beginning of the semester, we took a lot of notes and such. So I was just like, what do I study? Like I have notes to study from, but I'm just nervous. I've never played a game show for a final. And like maybe dating back to elementary school when you just like, I don't know. Did you ever do like little games like that for, I don't know, maybe exam review?
I want to say yes, but I can't think of like a specific time. I remember doing a lot of Kahoots.
Kahoots in middle
when
school.
I was young. Yeah.
Those were the days. And that's how.
And then like coming to college and they do Kahoots for like fun things instead of schoolwork. I always thought that was interesting. Like I love all the fun events we have with Kahoots at trivia nights.
It's
Those
true.
are so fun.
It's true. Here at WFSC, we plan a lot of events and we do Kahoots at, I don't know, once in a while, because honestly, everyone just likes them. And if you didn't play them in middle school for whatever reason, you like learn to just love them because they're just, I don't know how to explain it. It's the music, it's the vibes, it's just trivia. And if you're doing it for school, you learn stuff. So it's cool. You know what? Maybe I'll make a Kahoot for myself. Is that cheating? Yeah, probably.
How is it cheating? You're
Yeah,
studying. You're preparing for the Family Feud.
if I make the questions, then I know the answer. Wait, but then that's also helping me study. So it's not cheating. But then I'll know the answer too quickly. Maybe I won't, though. Maybe I'll make it hard. You're like, what was that thought process? Caitlin's just laughing at me now. Anyways, to talk more about the semester coming to a close, we've got the other Winneck twin, Camila Winneck.
Oh yes, here I am, you guys. Good morning. Today, I'm pretty sure you heard about my sister giving you guys, I guess, physical advice and physical tips on.
Tell me to have more magnesium, whatever that means.
Yes,
so.
PMS, which also stands for a plethora of different things, but we won't go into that. But
it's another side of health.
Nevertheless, I'm here with, I guess, more psychological and mental tips on how to prepare for finals and just prepare your brain and, I guess, inner self for, crushing those finals, as my sister said, or I usually say acing those finals or kicking them in the butt, simply because I understand how it can be tough. And also to all you guys out there, I actually have one question. Do you have more final assignments like essays and projects, or do you rather have more like exams and tests?
I have more projects, but mine are kind of all over the place. So it's very different for each class, which is good because I like variety, but they're all like, I don't know, they're very different, I guess, different ways of using my brain. You know, does that make sense?
I have
like
more.
That makes sense.
I have more exams, which I don't mind. I feel like it depends on the class, but I know projects in a sense are a little easier, even if they're a little more time consuming, but I do like exams because it's just like you get it over with. Like one of my classes gave us the option to do a project or just take the exam, but the exam's going to be a collection of like all the quizzes we've done. And I was like, well, that's not really hard studying if I just look at the old quizzes. So I feel like I would just want to get that out of the way instead of doing a whole project because it was like a whole paper. And I was like, I don't.
See, I'm the opposite because test taking intimidates me so much because I'm not really good like test taker, multiple choice, all that kind of thing. I'm better with like projects, presentation, writing, literally everything else. So if given the option, I will 100% do a project because it's more what my brain was built for. It's more my strong suit, I would say.
I see. You see, everyone's different with things like this, but the main point of the class and the main point of the final is for the professor to see what you've learned and if they did a good job in general. And it's basically showing that what you're trying to, in a way, I don't want to say you're trying to prove something to a professor, but the main idea of a final is kind of showing the fact that you learned a good amount of information and the main idea of the class. And what are the best ways to portray that in the best way you can in that final project or final assignment? Well, first off, studying beginning early, because it never hurts to kind of, review the info, not just write it down and just throw it away because we won't need it anymore. Not true. You will for the final, unless you have no final. And
you're right.
What I always, like a mental, I guess, like note I always have in mind, is that it's better to overstudy than not know the answer. And like, by that, I mean, don't like read every single word. Don't memorize every single letter in a book. No, it's more like try to just get the best grasp of the theory or the idea that you can, like, so you could fully understand it and write it out in your own like words, as opposed to like just kind of knowing the definition. Because, then again, the professor can ask like, oh, what's your idea on this? How can you use this theory? I'm studying communications and media at the moment, and I'm taking a certain class that overviews a lot of the communication theories, and we have to use them in effect. So like, if I don't understand a theory, then like I won't be able to, fully define it and fully explain it to my professor. So try to understand the concepts and the main ideas as opposed to like, the definitions, because that won't really help.
Yeah, and it's also with memorizing things, you're not going to remember that for as long as if you actually learn it and can put it in your own words, like you will probably remember that beyond the final and use it in your real life and use it in your other classes too.
Yeah, no, exactly. Leslie, great advice. Seriously. Yeah, so once again, study early and, get the main concept down as opposed to, the definition or like, copying it from a book, etc. And another big key aspect, do not stress yourself out. Now, I know that sounds kind of like an oxymoron for finals, like, don't stress yourself out simply because, if you know what I mean, like it's not easy, like you're nervous for the final. But the best ways, using the tips my sister gave like earlier, also try to keep a positive attitude and try to kind of, try to keep calm, simply because you have to know it in yourself that you got it in you to pass the final. Because even if you know everything you need but you're stressed out, like you're most likely gonna forget, you're gonna rush, like it's stress doesn't do us good in any single way. So yeah, don't psych yourself out, don't stress yourself out. Like, do some yoga if you must. Drink some tea. I love green tea. Plan out. And going on to the next topic, one of the best ways for you not to stress out and to be organized is to organize your time and plan out your days. Now, I'm not saying plan it out to every single minute. No, I'm rather saying like, plan out a good time, like have a good bedtime, go to sleep like at a good time, wake up, of course, not at like 4 a.m, unless you're that kind of person like Mark Wahlberg. I don't object.
I mean, that's when some people in college are going to sleep, so I don't know.
I know. Well, there was a time in my life in which I was literally getting up at like 5:30 just because I'm like an early morning bird. I just naturally wake up early. So like I just know there's some interesting people out there, as you can tell. But you have to. The main point is try to prioritize sleep, because that's the best way your mind actually puts away your either long-term memories and just processing memory in general. So if you want to remember
for sleep, I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, it's
I didn't know they were
a big advocate for sleep. Yeah, what do you mean? Sleep is just amazing in every single way. Like there's so many more benefits from sleeping, but I'm a huge advocate for sleep, because even if I have stuff to do, like if I'm tired, I'll go to sleep because I know I need sleep. Well, says the person who went to bed at 3 a.m. and woke up at 7:30, but that's not the point. That is not my normal. Okay, but we're not gonna act like that's not my normal schedule. I usually get sleep. I like going to sleep. That is
true. When we are out late.
No, you know what? Because I've gotten into arguments with one of our friends about this, because I had to be up early the next day, and he was like, it's not that early. You only have to be up at 9 o'clock. Like, you can go to sleep past 12. And I was like, no, I really can't, though. I would like to have sleep. And we had a whole fight about it. So
you did. And it was so ridiculous, because you were like, I need this many hours of sleep. And he was like, no.
Yeah, he was like, you'll be fine. And I was like, that's not the point. It doesn't matter if I'm going to wake up no matter what. The point is I need sleep. I need my sleep. That's it.
Kayla needs sleep. Or her, I don't know, sleepy sleep. You don't need beauty sleep.
Well, we all need our beauty sleep, because it's gonna do us well, not only for our memory, not only you get to like see. Okay, I don't want to be one of those weird people, but you get to see things when you sleep. You have adventures. You can have dreams. I mean, I hope people don't have nightmares. But like, sleep is just like amazing in so many ways. Not only for your body, for stress management, for like optimal growth for children, and like muscle growth for those who are trying to build muscle, but also it's just amazing in many ways, and it helps you for your finals. So I mean, the more sleep the better, right? And of course, other than planning and prioritizing sleep and rising at a decent hour, another important aspect is to plan out schedule. How can I explain this? Schedule out studying blocks. And by that I mean, if you're gonna study all day, you're gonna stress yourself out. Like, plan out good blocks in which you could study for your finals, whether it's whether you're reading over the information, whether you get to practice for something, whether you're working on your final project. Don't spend the whole day doing the same thing or like everything, because that won't help you. Have variety in your day. So thank you. Like, what I usually like to do is take 20 to 30-minute intervals, just studying a certain subject, and then taking a break, going for a walk with my dad, saying hi to my cat, having some tea, going outside, and then just returning. But like you have to give your mind like a break. That's why it's good to
No, but those moments are so important because I feel like they keep you sane. At least, like, in my opinion, I can't, like, sit through and do something straight through. And that's also, like you said, why time management is so important because you need to, like, for me, I like to take breaks and relax. So it's important to do things over a span of days. Like, I can't just do everything in one night. Like, I could never do that.
I know.
Just for your own sanity.
Some people work so differently too, because some people prefer to get it all done and not have breaks.
Or like pull an all-nighter. Yeah, I
pull
can
an all-nighter,
never.
and I'm not like that either. But if I take too long of a break, then I don't like going back to my work.
Yeah, I get into hangout mode very easily.
Yeah.
So you got to find it in between, which, like Camila said, 20 to 30-minute intervals.
That even seems too long for me. I don't know. It depends on what I'm working on, because sometimes a 10-minute break, and sometimes a 10-minute break is good for me, because then I'm just like, okay, I wasn't too invested in whatever I was doing, and I mean, how much fun can you have in 10 minutes? I mean, I don't know. It works, and then other times I'm like, a walk would be nice, and that takes longer, but I don't know.
Well, I like what Camila said before about, like, you were talking about how you need to, like, don't stress yourself out, like, you have to believe in yourself, but I really think that you need to have your confidence in your own ability. I think that makes a big difference. Like, I have a big assignment due in a few days, and like a part of me is stressed, but the other part of me is just like, I know I'm gonna get it done, so it'll be fine. Even if I don't want to do it, it's gonna get done. Just believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because
you guys, you mentioned, Caitlin, you mentioned something very important. The assurance and the belief in yourself, as silly as it may sound, that's literally half of the battle. Like, similarly, once begun, it's half done. This comes to a similar aspect, because if you believe in yourself and you know you can, it literally, now, as weird as it sounds, it literally programs your mind in this, like, you're in this winner mode, as opposed to this, like, mentality which is like, oh, I can't do anything, I can't believe it or anything. So, like, I mean, I don't believe I can do it. Like, that just kind of, like, if you're defeating yourself, it won't do you good. But yeah, those are my tips, and you guys, good luck. I wish you well. Seriously, final projects or final exams, you got this. Believe in yourself and get enough sleep.
Okay, yes. Okay, I promise I will.
Leslie is being forced to take these tips right now.
Being forced to have a good sleep schedule, because, I mean, it's so much easier to, like, not think about the sleep you're getting and the food you're putting into your body. But once you start paying attention to it, you realize how important it is. That's the thing, is, like, I guess maybe I'm just lazy.
Yes.
But I know how important it is and how much time and effort I should give to it.
At least you're aware. But speaking of taking care of yourself, we have Lauren here to talk about some mental health tips. Yay, our favorite.
Hello, guys.
Mental health.
Have you seen that May is Mental Health Awareness Month?
Yes.
Yes. Woo, here we go.
I was so happy you brought that up, because we got to talk about maybe Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy that it's becoming so normalized in our society to talk about mental health issues, and it makes me so happy to see, like, so many people I knew from high school, or just, like, anyone having the ability, or, like, having the confidence now. I could never imagine people doing that before and just sharing their stories online, but I can't tell you how many people I've seen this month, like, talk about their stories and their struggles with mental health. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but a lot of people from my high school and stuff have shared their stories, and it's so nice to see that people are willing to do that, to make sure that people don't feel like they're alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a brave thing to do that I can only imagine is really hard, because especially with, like, I don't know, I guess I want to say, I guess, stigma of mental health in, like, high school, and, like, how people perceive you. It was something I was always worried about in high school, is, like, I don't know, like, how other people, like, looked at you and judged you. It was something I was so worried about. I mean, now I don't care because I'm in college, but yeah, it's interesting. It's brave. Shout out to the people who are doing that hard work of sharing stories, because, it helps other people get through it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, like, directly relates to what I wanted to talk about today, which is, like, all the stuff that we've learned from the pandemic and stuff that we can carry into our lives after the pandemic. But like, I feel like a lot of the reason that people have gained this courage, not only because it's so normalized in our society with mental health these days, but also I think a lot of us realized during the pandemic that like people's opinions don't matter that much. And like, you know what I mean? I feel like we've all gained a lot of self-discovery, and we've had the time to like sit there in our own thoughts enough that we've realized some important things. Some things are just not as important as other things. Like we just like silly things we blew out of proportion, and then the little things that we should have been valuing, we didn't realize until we couldn't have it, like
Absolutely.
talking to family and stuff like that.
We took
definitely,
a lot
like learning. We did take a lot for granted, and just like learning like priorities and stuff like that. There are a lot of other things in life.
What do you guys think is like the most beneficial or most important thing that you learned over the course of the pandemic, which has been a year?
Wow, what a question.
Big question.
I think I learned more about more like, it's gonna sound weird, but like taking control of my life and making the most of it, because I think before the pandemic I was like not as confident, not as willing to like put myself out there, and like even when like joining clubs and just talking to people everyday life and saying what I'm thinking and stuff like that. Pandemic kind of made me realize like life is short, life's what you make of it, and to quote Hannah Montana, life's what you make it, so let's make it rock. So, you know, that's on my mind a lot. I'm not even joking. I actually really like that quote. Let's make it rock. It's literally what you make it. So, you know, joined the radio station, I mean, right before the pandemic hit, because it was something I had been working on of like wanting to get involved. But even when I was involved, I wasn't that involved. And then quarantine made me realize like life is short. Do what you want to do, and have bigger goals for yourself. You know, that was like a really loaded answer, but I learned a lot.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I feel like mine was kind of the opposite. I think I have a more negative, like, I mean, yeah, sure, good things came out of the pandemic. No, that's a lot harder for me to think of a positive thing, to be honest. I think that when I started college, I was very ready to like go out, be on my own. Like I was so excited, and the pandemic just took all of that away from me. Like, I mean, of course that happened to everybody. I'm not the only one, but I really was just kind of there, and I just watched Netflix a lot. I remember doing that. I do think I learned a lot about myself just from certain situations I was in, I guess, just learning about the way I communicate and stuff like that, because obviously we were in a whole new way of communicating with people. So I guess like working on myself in that way, but in the sense like that Leslie mentioned, like she realized life is short, like I should do more. I feel like when I first started college, I was more like, I want to do things, like I'm very excited. I used to go to all these events, even though like I was nervous because I'm not very social. I would still try and put myself out there. But then like the pandemic was, once that happened, I was just like, well, this is terrible. Like, so I used to receive emails from all the different clubs, and once the pandemic started, I just stopped going to things, even if it was virtual. And I don't know, but I did join the radio station during the pandemic. I can't deny that. And that was just because I was bored and I got the email because I signed up. I'm telling you, I was like involved in everything my first semester. So I got emails from everybody. So I got the email from the radio station during the pandemic. I was in my room and I was like, well, I'm not doing anything, so let me just join this. And now here we are.
Join.
But
I love that though.
You know.
Yeah.
I things made it easier for some people. So I mean.
Yeah. It's crazy how we've all been affected in different ways, but I mean, most of us wouldn't even be here right now if it wasn't for the pandemic. So at least one thing came out of it. We can.
You know, this show was created because of the pandemic. This show is.
We definitely wouldn't have this without the pandemic.
No, because we could have made it possible in studio, but I think a reason we came up with this is I don't know.
We're trying to get more leadership experience, but Amanda and Ryan. Like it was hard, and Amanda and Ryan suggested this because it was their idea that they had, but they didn't have time to work on it. And they were like, well, you guys seem like you want to take on more. You
guys can just do this.
Yeah, and that's kind of how that happened. That was definitely because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just because we created the show in the pandemic, so we've had a lot of freedom with like how many people we can have on the show, because in Zoom there are no restrictions. We're not face to face. If we created this in studio in a normal year, I think it would be really different. Like, if
Well, I mean, it would be, and it's also, there's no way you would start it. I feel like there's no way you would start a show with this many people, like in studio. And it's bittersweet though. We're losing out on the whole studio experience too, which just changes everything.
We took a whole turn in your segment, Lauren. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We got to get you in the studio, Lauren.
Really?
Because it's
a whole different mood. It just changes the tone of the conversation, if that makes sense. It's weird.
True. Mm-hmm. I totally get that. But to get back to the article, it was an article by Tara Parker Pope for Independent, and it was 5 pandemic habits that you should keep after the pandemic. And I kept 3 of hers, and then I made 2 of my own. The first one is, as we know, prioritizing self-care.
Yes, 100%. My self-care is terrible though, because it includes me sitting in my bed watching Netflix, but that's okay.
That's fine. It's different for everyone. It's not always face masks. It's not always journaling. It's just whatever fulfills you in your time. And self-care is easier for some people, and some people it's harder. Like, other people might feel like they're wasting their time or something like that. Like, for the people that don't want to do face masks or sit and watch Netflix in their time, taking up hobbies that you feel passionate about, like volunteering or anything you want, is another form of self-care. You can interpret that as self-care. Just what we learned in the pandemic is that you really need to spend time on yourself, and how beneficial it is to be introspective and do things for yourself. It doesn't always have to be like, it's not selfish to take time for yourself. And I think we've seen that there's so many benefits to it. The second one is being accountable. And we've all learned about being accountable during the pandemic by wearing masks and social distancing and everything, and how our actions affect others. And I think we really need to take this afterwards in different ways, not just wearing masks, but how our actions affect everyone.
Right.
Third is being active throughout the day. I don't know about you guys, but I went through like phases throughout quarantine, like, oh, we're going to do this workout every day this month. And then there's other months where just laid in bed the entire time.
I literally did that. April 2020, I worked out almost every day, and then it didn't start working out until literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But I think we all noticed that when we were being active, it was better. Like, I definitely had much better days when I was being active. So I think after the pandemic, we all need to work on being more active and figuring out what works best for us in our routine, as long as we're getting it in.
Yeah.
And then my personal ones that I added in was checking in on your friends and family, which I think is something we all learned during the pandemic, because we took it for granted. And then once it was taken away from us, we saw how much it mattered to us, and how much it mattered to be checked in on and checking in on others. And it can be so impactful. You never know when somebody needs somebody to reach out.
It's true. It's a general rule of thumb to be nice to people. I don't remember the exact quote, but you be nice to people because you don't know what they're going through. And even when your friends and family, you think you might know what's going on in their life, you might not. I mean, they may not be opening up about certain things, especially if it's really hard and people pretend that they're okay. So checking in on other people, and more impactful than
I think some people feel like it could be awkward to reach out and do that sometimes, but like after, like, you don't realize how much of an impact it has on that person. So it's definitely better to at least try.
It's so funny. I'm going to share an anecdote real quick, because when I was going through tough times in like high school, and at some point I would, get over it seems really harsh, but over time I would feel better right after some stuff had happened. My friend, I've had so many people say this to me. They were like, yeah, we could tell you were really sad, but we didn't want to check in on you because we didn't want to make it worse or bring it up. And I was like, if I had known you cared, that would have made me feel so much better, even if I didn't want to talk about it. So I always keep that in mind, because people checking in on me then, people realizing that I was like sad or whatever I was feeling at the time. Like I felt very alone. People realizing that, I didn't know that they realized that. I thought I was hiding it so well, but they never checked in on me. So I didn't really know that they cared. So, you know, it is really important.
It's a perfect example. It never hurts to check in on people, even if they always seem okay, even if they're always laughing and everything. It never hurts to check in on people and just make sure they know that you have people. And lastly, it doesn't hurt to be environmentally conscious and cautious. I mean, I think a lot of people during the pandemic have realized their environmental habits, and when it comes to choosing like the right brands, animal cruelty, and or bringing your own bags to the grocery store, we've had more free time to concern ourselves with this stuff. And I think it doesn't take up that much time, I think we realized, and it has such a big impact, and it doesn't hurt to continue this after the pandemic.
It's true.
Yeah.
And next May, not this year, but next year, I think there's a rule for New Jersey is that there's going to be no more plastic bags in supermarkets.
Yeah.
And that's like part of the environmental movement, you should say.
Yay, go New Jersey.
Go New Jersey. Thank you so much, Lauren. I'll make sure to practice my self-care today, just for you. Real quick, Caitlin, before we mention that this is 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Week in Wake Up, what is your go-to self-care besides watching Netflix?
Okay, you're making me think of something else. I mean,
yes,
it's literally so unhealthy
variety.
because it's laying in bed, it's watching Netflix, it's eating ice cream. It keeps me sane.
Okay.
And I'm so serious about it. Ice cream's not good for you, but every once in a while, indulge.
That's something that diet culture has taught you in society is ice cream isn't good. You know what I've learned is that, it's maybe not good nutritionally, but categorizing things as good and bad is bad for you mentally. So don't say ice cream is bad. Say ice cream makes me happy. And that's,
it's just like everything in moderation. Like you could eat it, just don't eat like an entire tub of ice cream at night. Just, just have some scoops and then you'll be good. That's
do whatever you want to do. It's your life.
Leslie. I'll eat an entire tub of ice cream.
Hey, if you're really sad, it actually makes you feel better. I say go for it. But that's me.
Eating ice cream, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? I think crying could count as self-care. Although to be fair, I've cried so much this week and it makes me feel worse about myself because I'm like, why am I crying? Stop crying. But I know it's good for you. I understand that it's a release.
It can be like an emotional release type thing, though.
Yeah, that's what people say. But
anyways, speaking of, wow, I really didn't have a transition there at all.
No, I don't think speaking of crying transitions into anything. But Sunday is Mother's Day, and Allie has some movies that she's going to recommend for us to watch along with some other entertainment news to talk about. So Allie, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So Mother's Day is here, and it's a great day to spend some time with your loved ones, your mother, or whatever strong woman may have raised you. And a great way to do that is to watch movies. So to start off, I have some movie recommendations. But before I get into that, do you guys have any favorite movies you like to watch with your mom?
My mom and I like to watch Hallmark movies together. So
I don't know. No particular movie comes to mind. I don't know. Me and my mom watch a lot of shows together. I don't know. We always find a show to watch together, and then we just get addicted to it and watch it until it's inevitably over, and then we get really sad and find a new show. So
yeah, I do that.
That list is kind of endless.
But Hallmark and Lifetime, well, Lifetime too, but she likes Lifetime more than me. But we like Hallmark, and Hallmark has these movie series. My favorite one is Aurora Teagarden, which stars Candace Cameron Bure, and they're just different storylines each film. But I don't know, it's cool.
But yeah, those are all. I love watching Hallmark movies with my mom. That's one of my favorite things to do. But I do have some I did make a little list of movie recommendations for Mother's Day. So the first one that I put, because I don't know why I always think of this when I think of Mother's Day, Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah, that's like a mother-daughter movie.
Yeah. I actually seen that with my mom. The first time we went into a drive-in theater together, that's one of the movies that was playing.
Oh,
And we
that's so
thought,
cute.
yeah, it was pretty fun. We didn't know what was going on though because it was the second movie and we'd never seen the first, so we were both really confused the whole time. It was fun. It was fun for me. I like musicals, so
Yeah.
Mamma Mia has an amazing soundtrack too.
I was gonna say it's probably my favorite soundtrack of any movie I've ever seen. I love ABBA. It's a great soundtrack. So
that's a great recommendation though, because my mom loves ABBA too, like just as a like on their own.
Mm-hmm. It's a great movie that, you know, I feel like our moms can enjoy and we also can enjoy. You know, it's something that all generations can love, and that's what makes it so great. You know, and it's a very enjoyable movie. I could watch it nonstop over and over again. So the next movie that I recommended was Freaky Friday.
yes.
Both versions, though. I couldn't pick just one. I say both versions, whatever one you feel like we could watch. I don't know. I know the first Freaky Friday I saw was the newer one, which came out in the 2000s. With Lindsay Lohan. And I
love that one so much. It's so good.
It is so good. Again, another great, enjoyable mother-daughter film. If you haven't seen it, it's about a mother and daughter, and they find that their personalities switched, and they have to live as the other now. And yeah, it's about how they kind of figure each other out and get to know each other through having each other's personalities. So it's a great one. And there's two versions of it, so you can watch either the newer version if you want, or the version that came out in like the 70s or 80s.
That's so interesting. You could like compare the two. I've only seen the newer one.
Oh yeah.
I knew that the older one existed. I don't think I've ever actually watched it though, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched it either, but I do want to watch it because I do think it's interesting that like I just like watching the remakes of movies and then going back and watching the original, and I like to see the difference and kind of compare and see which one's better and like which one I enjoyed more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
it's so fun. I love doing that too.
Yeah, it's so fun. And the next movie I recommended, the final movie I recommended for my little list today, was Mother's Day. It came out in 2016, and it stars Jennifer Aniston. And basically, as Mother's Day gets closer, it follows like a group of people, and they thought that they didn't really have any connections. But as the film goes on, you find out that they all kind of are connected in some way. And they all kind of like are coming to terms with their relationships with their mothers. And they all have very, very different relationships. Like one of them is a single mom. Another one is, so like one of them is a single mom. Another one is married, and it's just like shows people's different relationships with their mothers and how they are preparing for this Mother's Day. And
that sounds so chaotic. It's like a cast where there's no main character, where it's like a lot of I love movies like that.
Different families, and it's so interesting, and it's fun to see the chaos between the different dynamics of families and how everyone like reacts kind of differently to this holiday that we all celebrate, and how everyone has their own little traditions. It's fun to watch that.
Yeah, that it's like Love Actually, but Mother's Day. You like how Love Actually, the movie, has all the different storylines. I just love that movie, so that's the first thing I thought of. I've never seen Mother's Day, but I remember when it came out because I remember seeing the trailer, and there were so many famous people in it, and it's just a bunch of different, I guess, mother-daughter duos, and I've always wanted to watch it though, and it's like one of those things that the cover is like the picture of the mom and daughter, but like every single one, so you know it's all different storylines. If I explained that correctly, if that made sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it reminds me of Love Actually.
I want to have a movie marathon with my mom. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's a great Mother's Day activity. You guys are looking for something to do, you guys can just watch the bunch of like movies. And I mean, that's what I like to do with my mom, is like we like to watch a bunch of movies together, and we like to watch TV shows. So, you know, we're still unfortunately in a pandemic. So if you're looking for something safer to do this Mother's Day, watch the movies. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah. I don't know. Out of these, which one's your favorite, Allie?
I mean, personally, I think out of these, my favorite is Freaky Friday. I love it so much. Or, yeah, Freaky Friday. My favorite movie on here is Freaky Friday, and the close second is Mamma Mia. But
fair enough. Solid choices.
But yeah, those are my movie recommendations for the day. And I have some entertainment news now. Something kind of exciting. The Monkees, a very big band from a couple years ago, our parents' generation. I know my mom is a big fan. They announced their farewell tour. It's set to start on September 11th in Seattle, and it's going to go through until November 14th in Los Angeles, and they're going to go all over America and play shows all over. They formed in 1966, and today, unfortunately, there's only 2 members that are still alive, Mickey Dolenz and Michael Naismith. They've been leading the group for the past few years, and they last toured together in 2019, and then they were going to go out again in 2020, but then unfortunately coronavirus happened. But that led to some good stuff, because actually when they were taking a break and weren't on tour, Mickey Dolenz actually recorded an album of tracks that were written by Michael Naismith, and they titled it Dolenz Sings Naismith, and it's coming out later this month according to Rolling Stone. So that's something super exciting. They're going to be performing new songs and songs from back in the 60s, so it sounds like a super exciting tour.
Wow, that's so cool that they're like, I don't know, I guess being nostalgic, performing their old music, but they're still coming out with new songs. I always find it so admirable when artists do that. Like, they're still trying to make new music and, you know, surprise their audiences and such.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's so cool. And I think that, first of all, good for Mickey Dolenz and Michael Naismith, kudos to them, because not many musical artists could, first of all, work together for that long.
That's true.
Just keep continuing to make music for that long. You know, a lot of people, like a lot of artists, feel like they get burnt out, but they kept going, and, you know, now they're releasing new music and going on a farewell tour. So I think kudos to them, and it's a very exciting tour, and very excited to see what happens.
Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, I think they'll be good to tour this like upcoming fall, like with vaccines out and everything. So hopefully that goes well, you know, and not get pushed back again or not happen, because, you know.
Yeah, definitely. As more things open up, that'll be exciting.
Yeah. That's super exciting that we can have concerts again and finally. Yes.
I miss it so much. I'm so excited.
Yes, me too.
But thank you, Allie, for your entertainment updates. It's always fun talking about entertainment, movies, all cool things.
And speaking of music, we've got Jake Getz here to talk about some new music and some music news. Jake, how you doing today?
I guess I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing all right?
Yeah, you know, well, because you guys were mentioning, you can't wait for shows to come back. And oh boy, I agree. I cannot wait to, I don't know, I've been dying to be in a mosh pit just this whole time. I sit here and I think about it. It's all I do. It's awful.
That is actually amazing. The fact that you just said that. I love that. I just miss the energy of concerts.
Oh yeah, even just hearing, like, I don't know, if you've never been to a concert, or especially like a smaller concert, like something a bit more like intimate than like a stadium or something like that.
It's a lot different.
You might not know how much how it feels to listen to a drum like live. You know, like a drum set, like you feel it.
Yeah, it's a lot different in a smaller venue compared to like a stadium concert.
Totally. Totally.
I've never been
But
to
you
a
have to
smaller
be-
concert. Now I feel like I'm missing out.
You
I
have to be
recommend
closer to
it
people
highly.
too, and
It's
usually
cheaper and it's
yes.
normally more fun. Like I
I was
don't
just
know, in
gonna.
my
It's
personal
cheaper
opinion.
because it's cheaper because it's general admission, and it usually involves you wait. Oh my God, words! Waiting in line for hours, and
Whoa.
it's really awesome. And you're really close to people because
Yeah.
there's really no seats. It's general admission.
And also, you
It's
feel
amazing.
cool because you're listening to the cool bands and not the dumb mainstream ones.
Or you listen to them like before they
Maybe
become
that
more
only works if you're
mainstream.
obnoxious.
Great.
Yeah,
I guess I know what I'm doing.
that is the circuit. Yeah. So I wanted to. Okay, we're just talking about how cool it is to go to small concerts, and now we're going to talk about Broadway. So, okay, so Broadway performances are coming back. It's announced today that they're, even though that New York City is coming back in 2 weeks, like pandemic capacity restrictions are being lifted and things are kind of starting to go back to normal with the vaccine. Broadway's not going to be around till September. This is coming from the New York Times. The reason that it's taking so long is that it like we still need to like get the people to return. Producers need time to market and advertise, and they also need to like reassemble the casts and like rehearse everything. But even though we still got time ahead, this is very exciting to hear that it's coming back. Do you guys have any Broadway shows that you really like, especially if they're running now?
Wicked was always my favorite. I've seen Wicked twice. I love Wicked.
Yeah,
I've seen Phantom of the Opera, Wicked.
Oh, that's awesome. Phantom's so cool.
Phantom's cool. I've seen a lot of them. I also saw Cats, and when I went to see Cats,
oh my God,
that's
amazing.
I think it was Tom Selleck that was in the audience, and we saw him.
Oh.
He was sitting a couple rows in front of us, and I was like, "Wow,
that's
so cool." Yeah, it was
Tom
New
Selleck
York
the Cats.
City.
What a weird.
I feel like Broadway opening up gives me hope for concerts too, because I have concert tickets that keep getting postponed.
Oh really?
So, yeah, Harry Styles.
Face. That's awesome. What a nice thing to look forward to at the end of the pandemic.
Yeah. But
what about you, Leslie? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know. I've only seen like 2 Broadway shows, and like it's something I'm interested in like seeing more because I love theater. But
do you ever like listen to Broadway soundtracks? Because I feel like you guys are keeping it to what you've seen, and I've only like seen I think 1 or 2 Broadway shows, but I listen to soundtracks a lot.
I've listened to a few. Like I know Hamilton really well, like very basic. I've listened to a few more, but like not like where I've memorized them or become totally obsessed with them.
Yeah.
But like I haven't thought about actually going to a Broadway show in so long because it got shut down a year ago. So like when you asked, I was like, I have not thought about this. I don't even have
It's funny because I haven't thought about it either. And when they made the announcement, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Like I honestly forgot that we could.
Oh yeah, that's a thing people do. People like get up on a stage and they sing. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, but I mean, it's amazing too, because especially for the people who work in Broadway, like they've been out of work for so long. So it's awesome to see that it's coming
entire
back.
Industry just gone.
Yeah. Like I really hope it works out. But I can't believe you guys haven't seen that many shows. I feel so like I mean I'm grateful that I've seen a bunch. I've seen a couple. My favorite one that I remembered another one now. I saw the Donna Summer musical and I loved that because the music is just phenomenal. But I really like Donna Summer because my mom.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
That was a really good show. Also, I saw the Carole King musical. That was the last one I saw. I think that was the last one I saw before the pandemic. So that was cool.
Now I want to go see a musical.
I saw King Kong on Broadway, which was odd.
King Kong, that's
yeah.
Wow, that must have been an experience. Yeah. I must say, if this conversation gets you thinking of looking into some more Broadway shows, one I have to recommend, and I think this is coming back, and I'm going to do everything I can to see it if it comes back, a show called Hadestown.
I heard about that.
I'm absolutely obsessed with this show. I think it's like, I don't know, I feel like this is like not just my favorite show, but like just one of my favorite just pieces of art in like general. It's very pretty and it's very like deep. I don't know. I like it.
Cool. I want to see Moulin Rouge.
Oh yeah, that's got to be a fun one, especially live. I know the movie's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll see what shows come back because I don't know if they've announced that yet. They said tickets went on sale already, but I don't know if they said what shows. Actually, you know what? I'm so curious because I tried to look it up once they made that announcement. I was like, I want to see what the tickets are, and I couldn't find anywhere to get the tickets, and I was very sad.
Oh, wow.
I was like, how are you gonna make?
Wow, I'll have to. Wow, I wonder if it's available anyway. I know I remember at the beginning of the pandemic they were saying like, hey, if we come back semi soon, there are places to get tickets, but I don't know.
That did not work out, did it?
No, it didn't. What fools we were.
They release the tickets soon. Oh, they do have a bunch up. Sorry.
Okay, word.
This is not what we're talking about right now. We're going to talk about music, but they do have a bunch of Broadway shows up on the website, and I'm very excited. Oh my God, they have one about Princess Diana. What is this? Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop.
All right. Speak of Caitlin freaking out. Anyways, now we got some new music, Jake.
Yes, we're gonna talk about some new music. Just to say, I guess content warning. We're gonna be talking about a lot of indie music. So
what's new?
It's going to be like I don't know. This show has always leaned very indie, but I don't know. It's very like aggressive today. So we're starting off with a new single from a band, Modest Mouse. That is pretty cool. I was gonna say pretty cool. That's not where the segment's going. That's pretty popular. They are. The new single is called "We Are the Between," and it's crazy. I remember hearing in a thing. I think it was about film, but I think it applies to all art. That like, what makes something good is when it equals like more than the sum of its parts. And I was listening to this song. I was like, how did this manage to be less than the sum of its parts? Like, it is so just like, there's good production, but like, there's just nothing there. Like, it just feels like, I don't know. It's very like, I don't know. I can't even describe it. It just feels so nothingy. It's like the lead singer is barely even singing. It's just like, I don't know. I think this band just might not be for me because I listened to some of their more popular music from like the earlier 2000s and I didn't like it either. But yeah, this is not it for me.
I like the cover.
Yeah, no, the cover, when I saw the cover, I was like, this is the album cover. So right. Maybe the album has better things. I
mean, it looks so funky and weird that,
right?
That the song sounds like nothing, like barely singing. That's not, it doesn't like align the styles, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know. So moving on, I also wanted to talk about the song Animal by Lump. This is, the band's called Lump, which is odd choice, especially because their sound is like, so like, I don't know.
Not Lump.
But this is yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you were.
I don't know. Yeah. So this is a cool song. I like this song. It's very heavy on synth instrumentals. And it gives this very calculated, very detached atmosphere. It's kind of funny because with a lot of these indie songs that lean really heavily on atmosphere, it almost kind of feels like it gets boring, you know? Like you're just like, all right, this is kind of a vibe. But like if it goes on for more than really a minute, because like, I don't know, I guess I have ADHD, so like I can't like listen to that for like 3 minutes. It gets really annoying if there's not like something to grab onto. The song really has it. It definitely has elements of pop, and you know, a bit more stronger melodies. So it's pretty cool. I recommend this one. The next song is one that I think was pretty popular. I think I saw this on YouTube trending. It's called From Back of the Cab by Hadestown. I think Charlie XCX works on this. So I think they're really interesting production choices and you can kind of hear that. But I don't know, it gets kind of grating. There's this weird clock sound that keeps on like going. I don't know. I thought it was kind of disappointing, especially like when I saw Charlie XCX work on it, I got excited, but no, it was not.
You're let down?
Yeah.
Aww.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
It does.
So before I go, I also wanted to mention that our line producer, Kyle Pepitone, wrote a song It is now available for anyone who is interested. I got a chance to listen to it. It's a very cool, very thoughtful lyrics, very earnest. It's cool stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited. I want to listen to it.
Me too.
Wait.
Do we know where we can listen to this, Jake?
Probably places.
Get that information.
I'm sure at least on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Right
yes,
now,
YouTube.
you should if you
I don't know if you got a distro kid, so
you know what? We'll put
on
a
streaming
link.
platforms or anything.
We can put a link in our YouTube video description for those who you are watching this on YouTube. And for those of you watching this on radio, well, first of all, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and we also have this show fully on YouTube, so you can see our faces. Whether you want to do that is up to you.
If you love our
recommend
faces,
it.
If you want to see our faces, you totally should.
It's true. All right.
But yes, we're gonna link Kyle's song in the YouTube description if you are interested. But other than that, thank you for tuning in. This has been Weekend Wake Up with me, Caitlin Arisisawa, and my co-host
Leslie Gallagher.
But yes, I hope everybody has a wonderful week.